subcategories. The subcategories are as follow. T1 is focus on lesson objective. T2, deliver content clearly. T3, student engagement. T4, target multiple learning styles. T5, student understanding. T5 is broken down into three sections. T5, student understanding, but it also has 5A, which is check for student understanding. 5B, respond to student misunderstandings. And 5C, probe for high level understanding. Continuing on with the T section of the impact system. T6, maximize instructional time. T7, invest students in learning. T8, interacts positively with students. T9A, student behavior. T9B, reinforce positive behavior. And T9C, address inappropriate off-task behaviors. Me and Ms. Wasaki, we sat down after the conference. After the observation, we had a post conference. It was a few questions that were posed during the post conference, but the majority of the post conference was a focus on areas that we considered strength areas and areas that we consider areas that need areas for focus. And the strength areas were the teacher concentrated on specific objectives during the lesson, and she felt that these areas were areas of weakness for her students. The objective was clear, it was concise, and it allowed her students to focus on the areas of weakness, which would allow them to improve and maybe score higher in a specific area on the standardized test. Two areas of focus is classroom management and improve the rigor of the lesson. The teacher's classroom management style I felt was inadequate. Um, we talked about it earlier, but it was one specific student who was frustrated by the task. He wasn't causing trouble. He wasn't just being the class clown. He was just frustrated because he didn't understand, and based on the worksheets that were given out and the high level students who were paired with him, he still wasn't able to understand the task. So the kid stood up and went to the window and kind of put his head on a radiator. The teacher, she tried to address the situation, but she wasn't very effective. And we think that, well, I think that she could improve the rigor of the lesson. I think that the rigor was very, very high for certain students, but then you had your high level students who breezed through it. So I think I feel like the teacher could have maybe had a couple of different objectives or a couple of different uh, levels of work that could have been implemented throughout this lesson, which will have given the higher level students, uh, made them have a little harder time with the lesson. It was four kids who she considered high level, and they were paired with some different groups around the class. But those four kids breezed through it. It was about 5 minutes, and they were finished with their origami paper cranes. And then for the remainder of the lesson, they were walking around helping other kids, which was good. But at the same time, I think that the teacher could maybe improve the rigor of the lesson where she could challenge those kids also. Um, I put together a professional growth and development plan for Ms. Wasaki. The professional growth plan, the initial start date was 4/15, which was the day after the observation. The plan was implemented at the same time as the post conference. The begin date is the 15th. Actually, we had an interim conference today. During the interim conference, we realized that she really hasn't really started on the plan yet because we were in testing mode all of last week. So she's going to get started on the plan by midweek. And the plan is going to last through the end of the school year. We're going to stop the plan on June 7th, and then we'll have a final review conference on June 11th. Some of the areas of strengths that we want Ms. Wasaki to continue to focus on and continue to enhance those areas are her routines. Her routines were in place, and the students were familiar with them. She demonstrated knowledge of her subject matter, and she does a great job of connecting the lessons to prior learning. And she also uses effective grouping strategies during the lesson. Um, a couple of areas of weaknesses that we want to work on, we want Ms. Wasaki to work on is she could be more specific in giving directions.